Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to the Sajdah channel, and I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. And today we're going to motivate and meditate. So be a friend and tell a friend, and we'll be right back after a few short commercials and a beautiful prayer.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to Sajdah's Monday Morning Motivation, and I hope everyone is doing well this morning. We're coming off of a very powerful and healing replay we had last night of our event, 75 Years of Mahalia Jackson at Carnegie Hall. We have, over the past several years, had numerous amazing events at the house, and we thought we would replay them. A lot of y'all miss it. A lot of y'all just assume that if I don't catch it at the time it's advertised, I'll be able to see it later. And that's not always the case, because a lot of things are proprietary, whether it's to the artist or whatever, and you got to come when we tell you to come on over. Okay, bottom line. And you'll learn that. That'll be learned customer behavior. If I tell you a time, make it there at the time. And because there's always another reason, there's always a strategy. When you see people working on big projects, life-changing projects, understand that there's a lot that is being juggled. There's a lot that is being handled. And so sometimes some of our criticism is really rooted in insecurity with the judgment and the hypocrisy. And we always got to be the hypocrite police and the believer police, and who's a hypocrite and who's not, who's following and who's not, who, blah, blah, blah. It's insecurity, because when you're looking at that person, you're bumping it up against who you think you are. And that's a whole, we've done quite a few shows here on the Sajdah channel about jealousy and judgment and hypocrisy. And so I chose that. I actually chose it as a theme last Monday. And something else came to me that bumped it. But this came back to me because I think we can relieve ourselves of so much burden if we stop judging people, stop being the hypocrite police. It's really weighing us down. It's preventing us from having good relationships with people. It's impacting our relationships. It's impacting how we interact with people. And most importantly, it is interacting us, ourselves. So let's be mindful of that. Let's be mindful of combing a person's life or their personality or what they do and their accomplishments, and then saying they're not a believer, they're a hypocrite, they're not this or they're not that. No one knows the heart except Allah. I'm sure you've done some things in the dark that if people knew, they'd be like, what? Wait a minute. So let's suspend some of that when it comes to one another. And here's another thing that I want us to work on, because oftentimes we're judging people because we're trying to figure out if we can trust them, if we can bring them in our inner circle. And maybe you can't. Maybe you just can't. Maybe you have to just say, you know what, I really like this person. They're really cool, but I'm not sure that I can trust them in my inner circle. And that's okay. It doesn't necessarily mean you can't have a relationship. You just may have to put them in a concentric circle that's a little further out. So maybe they don't have access to so many things in your life. I always say that trust is about whether or not you can trust yourself. You can't control anybody else, so you certainly can't trust anybody. You can trust people from situation to situation. The question is, can you trust yourself? And if you know you can't, and if you know for whatever reason, whatever that person is struggling with, whatever their flaws are, you just don't need them in your inner circle. Because maybe you don't trust your own inner circle to that person. I mean, there are times where I'm in an environment that is really sensitive. It may be a new environment, relationships I'm trying to build or curate. And so there's certain people that maybe just can't be with me in the building of that curated environment. And maybe they get to come around, on certain special occasions. I think we have to turn that around and stop being so judgmental about what somebody is struggling with, and think about what expectations we've created that's causing us to throw this negative energy at somebody else. A lot of us is us trying to control an environment that is not ours to control. So as we navigate through our week, let's work on this week. Let's stop being the hypocrite police. Let's stop judging everybody else and then creating these rules. I judge you and then I create a rule. Let's stop all that. Let people show up how they are. And sometimes how they are is helpful to you and I, because it may teach us something. It may help us do something. In their flawed nature, they may be able to get something done with us or for us that we can't do because we're in a certain vibrational space. So let's drop some of that. Let's let people show up where they are. Let's trust ourselves that we know how to handle whatever information is coming to us. I always talk about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan being such a perfect example of someone who manifests in the face of controversy. He has all these things coming at him, so much hate, so much drama, but yet he exudes a love that is greater than that hate, greater than the criticism, greater than the drama, greater than the judgment. He produces something so much greater. And in that production, he is authentic. So he accesses the highest God frequency that there is. And he speaks with the mind of God. His words are prophetic. His words are healing. You know, he can have a conversation with you and, like Jesus, be snatching demons up out of you and you don't even know it. Perfect example of manifesting in the face of controversy. He loves unconditionally. And that judgment, that hypocrite police, all of that is not there because he's focused on healing and resurrection. So today's meditation, I want us to focus on healing and meditation. And I'm not asking you to live in some crazy bubble where you walk around in la la land and not notice what's going on around you. It's quite the contrary. I'm telling you, pay attention to those external stimuli. And you can utilize that external stimuli to manifest what you want. That's the controversy. That's the chaos. That's the friction. It may be teaching you where to place this person in your life, what expectations you should be setting up, and how to avoid disappointment. It's the one thing that if we stop doing, I think we will see much more movement in our lives, and I think we will see our lives turn around overnight. Hear me give you one last analogy. People are showing up to you just like we show up how we are. We may have things inside of us, the way we think, the way we do things, that make us sick. And we may be sick to the point where we have an infectious disease. Well, if a person has an infectious disease, it's not necessarily that you don't love them, but they need to go in quarantine sometimes while the medicine is being administered to them, and then they can heal. And after a certain period of quarantine, then they can come back sometimes. Well, I want you to think of sometimes the behaviors that we see people demonstrate that adjusts or needs to adjust what we expect from them. May just mean they may either need to go in quarantine for a little while, or you just may have to, maybe they can't breathe in your face. Maybe they need to go out a few concentric circles. Maybe you need to stop expecting that they won't talk so much because that's what they do. Maybe you need to stop expecting that they're going to show up on time because they are never on time. But instead of that judgment, that haterism, where then you go around and you talk about them and you try to get everybody else to hate on them because they don't show up on time, maybe just sending healing energy to them. I know that's a simplified example, but sending them that healing energy. And just say, it doesn't mean I can't love you. I just know you're not going to show up on time. That makes it a lot easier. If an event starts at 7 and you tell this person to be there at 7, and no matter what, they're never on time. They come at 9, they come at 10, then stop expecting them to show up on time. And depending on how well you know them, you can teach them, you can tell them how much they're missing when they come late. You can tell them how unreliable that makes them when they're late. You can go into all those kind of things that may be medicinal to what they're struggling with. But what you shouldn't do is make them out to be some big giant hypocrite because they don't show up on time and go around spewing hate towards them, when in essence you should be spreading love, spreading healing. I'm going to say this one last thing. I said the other one was the last thing. And I'm just talking through this, so I hope it's making sense for us. Part of what allows us or causes us to be disappointed, causes us to not feel like anybody can be trusted and have issues, is really an insecurity oftentimes in ourselves, because we're using deceptive intelligence to set up an expectation that that person can't meet. We're setting up an agreement between ourselves and somebody else, and it's not fully executed. They didn't sign the other side of the agreement. They never told you they was going to be there at 7. They never told you that they were going to do certain things. But you expect them to, and you want them to, and now they got to be all kind of hypocrites and all kind of this or that. Let's give one another a little more mercy. Maybe I can't count on you to be there at 7 or 8 or whatever time we set, but I know you got a good heart, and I know you got my back, or I know you're a cool person, whatever it is. But let's work on suspending some of the judgment. All right, so we're going to meditate. And as you all know, we start with just 3 small calm breaths. And let me say this, because I had somebody email me and ask me what meditation technique I was certified in. And I said, I thought about it and I replied, I said, the Sajdah method, because I've been doing this since I was 4 years old. I've been using meditation in different forms and different styles of it since I was a toddler. And I use it to reset myself because I'm very sensitive. And so I'll meditate to sounds. I'll meditate to the heat of the sun. I'll meditate to breath. I'll meditate to numbers. I'll meditate to water. So it's my method. And it's worked for me since I was a toddler. So we're going to take 3 calm breaths, and then I'm going to guide you through a deeper breathing process once we close our eyes. Okay? So we're just going to breathe nice and softly 3 times. It's a deep breath, but it's a soft, deep breath. Y'all ready? Okay, let's go. Grab a little coffee. Deep breath. That's 1. That's 2. And that's 3. Now you're going to gently close your eyes. And we're going to do 3 deep resetting breaths. And you're going to take it in through your mouth really deep, so deep that it's going to feel like you're choking. But instead of your mouth being open, you're going to close your mouth, and it's going to sound something like this. And then I let it out through the nose. All right, so let's do 3 of those. Here goes the first one. And breath should be so deep that you feel like you're going to choke. Next one. And here goes the last one. Now let's just sit here for a couple of seconds and acknowledge the reset that is happening in our body. I normally do this before my prayers. So like before Fajr prayer, I'm doing a meditation just to reset myself from the night. But you can actually do this anytime. Now, I want you to think of a person who disappointed you or who disappoints you often. Somebody that you've made a rule around where you said, I don't like them or I don't trust them. I want you to think about that person. You got them? All right. Now, I want you to take a moment and forgive that person for not meeting your expectations. Maybe they didn't know that you had an expectation. Maybe they did. But with each breath, I want you to just release forgiveness and send that air in the form of healing energy to them. Now, I want you to think about yourself. And I want you to forgive yourself for your expectation, even though you had evidence that you could not have that expectation on that person. So in our efforts to own that person, in our efforts to control that person, in our efforts to make that person who we want them to be, we put a set of expectation on them that they did not meet up to, and that we likely had no right to put on them. Understand that people show up the way they are. People are navigating through their own challenges, their own insecurities, their own shortfalls. Forgive yourself for not having mercy. Forgive yourself for not moving them to a different concentric circle, even though they demonstrated to you that they did not need to be in your inner circle. Breathe that forgiveness into yourself. It's okay. Now, I want you to remember the beneficence and the mercy and the grace that each of us live in every single day. Striving to be right, striving to be a believer, striving to be in submission, striving to be in alignment is challenging work. And let's acknowledge the mercy that we received, even though we're making mistake after mistake after mistake, even though we've had so many times where we could have done better, but we didn't do better. Let's forgive ourselves and acknowledge that mercy, that grace. Now I want you to take a moment and be grateful for that mercy and that grace. Some of us should have been dead a long time ago. Some of us should have been in jail a long time ago. Some of us should have been ousted a long time ago. Some of us have gotten so comfortable with being wrong, and we should have been outed a long time ago. And were it not for the grace and mercy of Almighty God, Allah, we wouldn't be where we are today. Let's take a moment, even if you don't feel like and you're not ready to admit that your situation is that extreme. You're living in the beneficence, the grace, the mercy of Almighty God, Allah. He is forever merciful. And we are grateful for that today. We've been eating wrong for a long time. We've been speaking wrong thoughts for a long time. We do a lot of things in the dark that we know are not healthy for us. And we're able to emerge from that darkness. And Allah's mercy and grace covers us. And we keep going like we are that perfect person. Let's be grateful for that mercy. And now that you have that energy of grace and mercy swarming around you, I want you to imagine a golden light up over your head. This is something that I do if I feel nervous or anxious. Imagine that beautiful golden light up over your head. And as it's shining down into the top of your head, it's turning into liquid gold. It's like liquid gold being poured in your head from the most divine being ever. And I want you to just feel your head filling up with that golden liquid. Your forehead. It's cleaning your eyes. It's cleaning your nose. It's clearing up your throat, your ears. And as it travels down your body, I want you to imagine now it's in your throat. It's moving through your shoulders, down your arms, out your fingers, down your chest, into your stomach cavity, down into your groin and your buttock area, all the way down to your thighs, filling up with this liquid gold. And as that liquid gold is moving through your body, you're relaxing. You're forgetting all the time that you spend wasting, judging people. Keep it going. Let it fill up your knees. You can go down and fill up your calf muscles. down the front of your leg and into your ankles, down over your feet. Let it ooze out between your toes. And I want you to just sit here in this beautiful healing gold liquid. Allow it to remove any fears. Allow it to remove the burden of judgment. Allow it to take away procrastination. I want you to say to yourself silently, I love you. See your face in your mind's eye. As you're sitting here in this liquid, visualize your face. Your body, every inch of it, every piece of it that's out of shape, every piece of it that doesn't look right and has some jaggedness or form that you don't like. I want you to look at all of it. Look dead in your own face, in your own eyes, whether you like yourself or not, and say, I love you. And sit there in your own face and love yourself. I love you. Say it to yourself. Say it out loud. Visualize yourself. Now I want you to see yourself in this, with this golden liquid flowing through you, stepping closer to yourself and giving yourself a hug and saying, I love you. Let that hug be so enriching. Maybe you rock a little bit, but you're just hugging that love into yourself. Now, as you sit back down, I want you to just sit here with the energy of all that love, all that mercy, all that grace, all that beneficence. Just sit here with it. Focus on your breath. Don't start thinking about nothing else. Just gently let that thought pass. Now, as we get ready to come back to ourselves, I want us to make a commitment this week, a commitment to love, a commitment to service. Certainly doesn't mean that we're soft. Certainly does not mean that we're not warriors. But the love that's in us is so powerful that it enhances our intuition. It increases our perception. It brightens our third eye. It sharpens our thoughts. We become a massive force to be reckoned with. There's nothing that we cannot do. Now let's become conscious of our breathing, and we're going to take about 10 to 20 just soft breaths, and I don't want you to focus on anything but your breath. Now let's take one deep, deep, deep breath, one of those choking type of breaths. And gently open your eyes. We should be ready for our day. This is a perfect time now to pray, where you're in this state, in this space, where you can actually feel the presence of the words that you're saying in your prayers. All right, family. And with that, I'm going to remind you to stay close to social media. We have an event coming up here on the Sajdah channel Thursday night at 7 p.m. You'll see that posted. If you follow, like, and subscribe and hit the notification bell, you'll get a notice. And we'll see you back here for maybe a couple of lives this week, just to keep us calibrated and work us out of this concept of always got to be the hypocrite police. Who are you and I to judge anybody? With that, family, may you have more goodness and love than you've ever received or imagined. Assalamu alaikum.